Good morning, everyone. My name is Amol Nirgudkar, and I'm glad to be here at the DEO Fall Summit. I'm here with David Thoni with Independence Dental. They're an emerging DSO that is, I believe, the fastest growing emerging DSO in the country. So I'm excited to have you here, David. Welcome.
Well, thank you.
I'm always intrigued by this industry because it is undergoing so much change, all positive stuff, right? Coming out of the pandemic, we thought that, man, oh my God, what would happen to this industry? But after the pandemic was over, we realized that dentistry is stronger than ever. The demand for dental services is better than ever before. And DSOs are truly leading the charge in ensuring that there is access to care, there is faster care, there is better care. And I'm really excited to know your story. So how did Independence start, and what is your business model currently?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the question. Our DSO was, it's more of a DPO, was started by an investment banker out of Toronto named Lane Theriault.
Okay.
Lane was one of the founders of 123 Dentist in Canada.
Absolutely, I know them, yes, very well.
Yes, very well.
Very well.
And when 123 partnered with a new private equity group, Lane stepped down from the board and launched a similar business model here in the States.
Very nice.
Around the name Independence. Our business is based upon finding quality practices, quality partners all across the country that want an extreme level of autonomy.
Okay.
And one of the reasons I think we're growing so fast is there's a bit of a pent-up demand. There are many great dentists out there that see the value of being a part of a DSO, but they don't want a boss.
Correct.
And so we have a unique and differentiated model in that we do not charge any DSO management fees.
Okay.
Because we have no intention of managing our partners. We're going to do all the back office work, and we'll a la carte partner with them where they want help. But we actually put in writing that we cannot tell you what to do. We have a normal course of business clause. So as a partner, even though we may own a majority of the practice, we can't come in and make changes. We have to convince our partners of the efficacy of the things we want to do together to grow.
And as endearing the model is, right? I mean, obviously everybody wants their autonomy, but how do you then juxtapose that with getting everybody aligned to believe in a unified mission, vision, and core values?
You know, we don't have a dental director for a reason. It's because we believe we have one at every practice.
Okay.
So what we want to truly understand is what is the vision, what is the culture, what is are the goals of the local practice, and support them uniquely. So our unified vision is to create a platform for quality practices to continue to grow the way they want to grow. They're successful in their market already for a reason. We want to respect that. So for that reason, we don't do any fixer-uppers. If we could buy into a practice at a bargain, we wouldn't do it because you have to pay a premium for premium practice.
So you are kind of vetting this process. Both sides are vetting at the initial stage because you're getting people in as an affiliate or as an acquisition based on meeting certain criteria that you already have established. So you're putting the right people in the bus anyway. You know that they know how to run their little operation or their dental office, and you're not interfering with them, but you're just providing the support if they need it.
If they need it. And it's not that we're not an active collaborating partner. We do come to them with ideas routinely. But if we say, hey, would you like to start doing sleep apnea appliances in your practice? And they say, no, I'm not interested. We close the book and we move on. The interesting thing that we're finding is that partners, and we're up to 40 practices now, partners are joining us because of the autonomy. They're very adamant about wanting the autonomy and appreciate that it's in writing. But once the trust is established, they become very collaborative partners with us. And we always respect that when we go into one of our partners' practices, the goal is to get invited back. It's not to try to convince them of anything, it's just to be a good partner and to listen and share and support their goals.
So how do you learn, right? So let's say, how does the DSO or the partners learn from each other, right? If there is something successful going on in an office where they have a certain approach, they're using certain technology, how does that information and knowledge get shared so that you have a brain trust?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks for asking that. One of the powers that emerge of a DSO like us that are only focused on really successful practices is you uncover some gems, some ideas that you can share. So we're very excited. We've got our first partner meeting coming up this winter.
Okay.
We have conference calls with them, or we just pick up the phone and say, hey, I think you should talk to Dr. Smith here. He's doing A, B, and C. So the best practice sharing is, I think, one of the most exciting things about our platform.
One of the things I love about this industry is the ability to have support for the clinician for growth, their internal growth as a doctor, improving their clinical skills, getting them to practice at the highest level of their license, and is it easier? Are you going to have a competitive advantage because now you're working with the top guys, and if somebody wants to, like, okay, well, I want to get into sleep, right, and I don't have it yet, but you got 5 offices that do sleep. Is there going to be the mentorship where they could mentor them on how to get a sleep practice going?
Especially whether it's sleep or clear aligners,
Yes.
New service lines, they need mentorship. Implants is a big one. I come from the implant world, so we help them get started, the right training. Training is absolutely key for any new service line you're starting. But we do that through third-party partners.
Okay.
So we have a great resource in-house called Carrie Lasher. She's our Director of Performance.
Yes.
Carrie goes in and teaches case acceptance. She teaches the staff and the doctors how to communicate with themselves and their patients. So we offer that service if they want it. But for the most part, we bring third parties forward, and we don't charge management fees. So anytime we do something with the doctor, we charge it through the economics of the practice. So essentially, if we own 75% of the practice,
Correct.
we're paying the layer and shipment. So we don't bring bad ideas forward.
It's very interesting, and how are as you move forward, what are plans for 2022?
Yeah. Well, we didn't really anticipate growing as fast as we did the first year. Fortunately, our platform is very scalable.
Okay.
So we just launched on December 31st of 2020 with 8 practices, and now we're up to and going through the process of closing on our 40th practice here at the end of the year. So we are ramping up rapidly. We've hired more analysts to help us with valuations, but we don't see it slowing down right now. We found a sweet spot, I think, with smaller group practices. That doctor that owns 2 to 8 practices that might not be big enough for a platform for a private equity group,
Right.
but can essentially use us as their financial backer and not have to deal with a bank.
And
So
still keep the autonomy, still keep all that
that's
stuff
correct, yeah.
within that. Now this is exciting. How are you finding practices? Because it's not easy. Because you can't just go to brokers and find them these days, because there's what, 10 buyers for every, maybe 20
Sure.
buyers for every office out there.
Oh, at least, right?
How do you guys do the development aspect of it?
Well, we do work with a lot of brokers. Now that we've got a year under our belt, we're starting to get quite a bit of word of mouth from partners
Nice.
telling their friends.
Nice.
Word gets around pretty quickly when there's a new and differentiated partnership model out there. But we have worked. There's some great brokers to work with, and what I have found, quite frankly, is that a dentist that's working with a broker is most likely to close on a transaction. They're better informed. They've taken a look at different business models that are out there, so we like working with the brokers.
So if there is a independent dental practice out there, or there's a smaller group out there, and they're wanting to kind of not be part of a large organization, or they don't have the private equity stuff, what should they do? How should they contact you? And what kind of conversations can they expect when the first time they engage with you?
Sure. Well, first of all, you can find us at independencedso.com.
Perfect, okay.
Even though we have a DSO in the name, you'll see our splash page says the DSO for dentists that don't want to be a part of a DSO.
Very interesting.
But you can contact us directly on the website, and the main thing we want to find out in the first conversation is it a good fit? Not everybody is wired the same. There are a lot of great DSOs out there, but some doctors are generals, and generals don't do well. I don't mean general dentists. I
mean generals.
They're generals.
They're the chiefs, not the Indians.
Right, and they're not.
Right.
They're not going to go be a captain in someone's organization.
Correct.
And the opposite is true as well too. So oftentimes in an initial conversation, if it's not really a good fit for us, I say, another organization, and I can rattle off a few companies, because fit is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
I think our most ambitious goal is that we don't want a single partner to regret transacting with us. So getting it right up front, aligning on the goals, is key.
what has, last question, how have you grown in terms of growth? Right? Because a lot of time this conference is about
Sure.
doubling dental, right? And everybody's talking about same store growth. Everybody's talking about how do you grow top line revenue? Are there ideas that you have honed in on post pandemic? I mean, you kind of started post pandemic anyway.
Right.
That are helping your practices grow faster. What kind of growth rates are you experiencing across? And has the independent structure allowed for faster growth?
In some ways, it's allowed for it because one of our partners down in South Florida, an excellent clinician named Dan Castle, his response was, my first week was the least stressful ever. I could come to work, focus on dentistry, because you guys were doing the back office. So in that regards, it opens up some opportunities for doctors. But with us is that we don't have a playbook that we come in and say, look, this is how independence, if you'll do this, you'll be successful. We want to sit down and we want to learn. And I'm a pretty simple guy when it comes to business because there are only so many ideas out there.
Right.
So we just break it down to input, throughput, and output.
Very nice.
And it doesn't matter if your office is set up to grow at 40%.
Right.
If you don't have the input coming in and the team organized to manage the throughput, it won't happen. So we look at the individual practice, what their needs are, and we try to have just genuine, real conversations about how they want help.
And as a result, have you seen people who have come in, have they been able to grow a little bit faster
Yes.
than what they did on their own?
Yes, I think so. Now there's some markets that are still really struggling, like everyone is struggling with
Absolutely.
assistants coming in and such, and that's had an impact. But when we come in, we're often surprised with some of the things that we find, even in great practices. There's always low-hanging fruit. Some of the larger distributors like us because, you know, if a doctor joins us, they're not going to tell them you have to switch to this distributor.
Absolutely.
So they like partnering with us. But we also very much respect our contract with our doctor. If we say, look, we can renegotiate these PPO contracts, move you around in network, and we actually had this happen with one practice, could collect an additional $1 million in revenue.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was a really large practice in Texas. But the partner came back and said, you're proposing that I make some changes to my fees. The community I'm servicing, I don't want to change their fees.
Wow.
So he said, I don't want to do it. And we have to respect that. And we were
pretty
disappointed.
amazing.
Hopefully maybe he comes around, but we trust our partners to know their business, to know their market. And again, we can't make them do anything, so what's the point in trying?
It's fascinating, you know, I mean, as this industry keeps growing, lots of new business models are coming by, and your one is another amazing one for the right fit.
For the right fit.
For the right doctor. It may not be for everybody.
Absolutely.
But I'm excited to see you grow over
thank you.
2022. You could potentially be double the size that you are. And next year when we do this interview, you might be like, Amol, we started with 8 offices in 2020, now we're 40 last year, now we're 100.
That would be a great story.
I would love to share that story on camera with you next year. So thank you so much.
I look forward to the follow-up. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Have a great meeting.
Thanks.